welcome. This is great. And to start with, we are going to have Carol. She's going to present Recipe for a Healthy Toastmaster Club. I don't know if you guys have seen her picture. It's so cute with her hat and her spoon on in her kitchen. So please welcome Carol Kraus.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters, are you in a club that has 10 to 12 members with maybe 6 or 8 that attend? You'd like to grow your club, but you're not exactly sure how to do that or where to begin. Maybe there's one other person that could help you, and you don't really have a lot of money to work with. What follows is my own story and how the desire to have a good agenda, a meeting that attracts more members, and a growing, thriving club is within the power of you. In this story, I hope you can see that it's how you conduct your meeting that attracts members that become active and that perpetuate your healthy club. For 3 months, I attended the LaGrange Toastmasters Club in Illinois at the suggestion of the CEO where I worked. When I went there, nobody asked me to join. I didn't receive any written information. Nobody approached me before or after the meeting. I wasn't even called on to speak. I thought it was like TV. You just kind of learn by watching. A couple months later, the CEO asked if I was going to Toastmasters meeting. And I said, sure. And he says, did you join? And I said, what does that entail? And he says, something's not working. And he walked off. I didn't attend that particular Toastmasters club again. Instead, I found one 5 miles from where I lived. It was like night and day. I walked into the meeting, and a couple people came up to me right away and introduced themselves. Another one asked me to sign their guest book. Someone gave me a packet of information and asked if I'd stay after the meeting for a couple minutes so she could go through that packet with me. The meeting started with the president. Even this was different. He was in a suit. This club had an agenda on the table in front of each of us, and everyone was concerned with time. I was called on to talk for 1 minute, and I couldn't really think of much to say. I was so surprised to be called on. They had a large traffic signal right across from me that I saw as I was speaking on my table topic, so I could see why everyone was talking about being on time. There were 25 people there. This club was really organized. Several months later, the VP Education, Mike Grady, approached me and said he had noticed my speeches were pretty organized, and I was too. I carried a folder like they suggested, and I had word of the day, newspaper articles about topics that I could write speeches, and I had some other information in there in case I was called on to take one of the other roles, last minute. He asked if I would consider taking his spot on the board. For the next few meetings, he showed me what he did on the agenda. He showed me how to communicate with members to fill in the agenda. He repeated over and over that people became members because they expected to be asked to help. If we stop asking, they stop coming, he said so many times. I could hear it in my sleep. I took office, and after a couple months, or during those couple months, I copied him on my emails, and he helped me fill the agenda. I don't know when we stopped working together because it was so smooth. I held that office for 2 years. Then, because of my sales background, I became the VPM and then a VPE again. I moved to Washington State, and I joined a club at the library and another one at the University of Washington. I became the VPE there, and I applied Mike's recipe to those 2 clubs, and it was successful in growing those 2 clubs to 20 plus members. Then in 2012, I moved to Indiana. 6 months after I moved, I was ready to join Toastmasters again. 2 clubs were about 25 miles from my home, and my plan was to attend 1 meeting of each, then join one of them. My first visit was to the Great Communicators of Northwest Indiana. Halfway through the meeting, I was so appalled. I resigned myself not to join this club or to ever come back again. The meeting started late while they organized who was going to take what role. One guy asked if anyone had a speech prepared. There was so much stress in the air. Nobody gave me a packet of information, and nobody explained what was going on, although I knew what was going on by that time. 2 members filled all offices. Halfway through the meeting, I realized that this was exactly the club that I should join because I could use my skills to build this club. I never went to the other one, at least for a couple of years. So after this meeting, I talked with the president, VPM, VPE, and told him I wanted to renew my membership with this club. He said, bring a check to the next meeting. He didn't have any applications with it. It would have been so easy to never come back. Dale and I worked closely together to organize the club. There were 7 members, including myself, who attended regularly. So I created an agenda that combined the roles. We dropped the joke and the inspiration. 6 people equals 6 roles to fill. I had a simple sign-up sheet. One person would open with a mission and pledge and be an evaluator. Another person would be the odd counter and the grammarian. Another, the timer and the evaluator. Another, the Toastmaster and the general evaluator. And then 2 people would speak. We focused on getting 2 speakers before anything else. If we had to sacrifice anything, it was not going to be our 2 speeches. Dale and I filled in with a speech if someone couldn't make it last minute. I bought guest packets from Toastmasters International, and I gave each person one of the folders who showed up. As new members joined, we spoke to someone who attended regularly about becoming an officer. We put together a good solid board of 7 people. By working together and providing a planned meeting with 2 speeches as our focal point, our members renewed and the club grew. Today, the Great Communicators have since peaked at 36 members, and for a long time had 20 plus members attend every single meeting. Members sign up to give speeches 3 months ahead of time. Charles Bradsky, Mike Johnson, Valerie Rice, and Scott Palmer are still members, have at least their CCs, and they're still on the board. Mike Grady's recipe worked again. 6 clubs now that I know of have used the same recipe and grew to 20 plus members and a lively meeting. If you have a club that can't seem to break 10 members attending, there's a recipe that I've used several times. This is a recipe that really works. So you focus on 2 speeches at every meeting. Focus on getting members through their manual. As new members join, ask them to fill a place on the board if they have a job they're going to attend regularly. They feel obligated. Lose any meeting roles in the beginning until you build it that don't advance your members in the competent leader manual. That would be like inspiration, joke master, parting thought, anything else that's not in your CL manual. Provide a guest packet and a presentation of benefits to every guest every time they walk through the door. Meeting frequency is important. Every week is probably too much. Twice a month for an hour and a half in the evening is the pattern of the most successful non-corporate clubs in District 11. Ask a guest to join every time they show up. Have a sign-up sheet cover 3 months so your members can plan their speeches and have time to rehearse them. Make sure your meeting room is free of distractions so you can provide that safe place for members to give their speeches. A public library room is perfect because it has no distractions and only members can hear the speeches. The takeaway then for today is this. It's how you conduct your meeting that attracting your members that become active, and it perpetuates a healthy club. Madam Toastmaster.
I'm clapping. Yay! Awesome. That was so good. I
Hello.
That, can you
Hello.
Hello?
Can I get in here? This is Mr. B. I finally got a hold of you people and listened to Carol's speech.
Great. Great. Hang on a second. I just, Mr. B, you are next in line to speak.
Right.
And are you prepared to give that speech today?
The introduction would be Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. This is indeed a privilege to join you in a study that would revitalize the Toastmaster program to become more proficient for the growth and progress. As an octogenarian, 88 and a half years old, political activist and researcher, retired professional musician, band leader, and music teacher for over 70 years, married for over 57 years with 3 children and 2 grandchildren, a colostomy cancer survivor and a long life learner. Kelly met Toasters Club 3313, going on 6 years. My name is Florian Bolsega. I have it spelled Florein. It's AIN. And as widely known as Mr. B. The reason for, hang on a second, I'm pushing up the computer. The reason I joined Toastmasters was twofold. As one gets older, you want to cut back and retire. This does not lead to a healthy situation. When I had my colostomy surgery, shortly thereafter, I was at a Salvation Army store and bought this book called Biomarkers. You can control the aging process, the 10 keys to prolonging vitality, the revolutionary medical program that can add years to your life and life to your years, by Dr. William Evans, Ph.D., and Dr. Erwin Rosenberg, M.D. Also, hang on a second here. Also, a life student of positive mental attitude. I was also a life student of positive mental attitude. Although I have some aging setbacks, I have a pretty healthy mind and body. The second reason life has been good to me, and I believe I am obligated to give something back. Being a researcher, I discovered how corrupt and unfair the political and business world has become in our country, and they are destroying our freedoms and lifestyles. Nobody seems to be able to stop this trend. America, which once was the leader of the world, although not perfect, was able to give millions of people the American dream for many decades. Today, America is very problematic and losing its power. Through research, much controversial material has been discovered. Are we ready to give up the socialized Muslim nation, or will we take it back and turn America around in the 21st century? So you can see there are twofold reasons why I joined Toastmasters. So at this time, I'm dealing with 2 difficult schedules with not too many solutions. The challenge and the training keep guiding me toward the future. What will it be? Every day is a different chapter. The Toastmaster experience, the most challenging part for me is going against the grain of transition from the home and the so-called transparent political culture environment to a healthy Toastmaster environment. How do you right wrong with words? In my speech on energy last night, I had a difficult time finding time to prepare. As a teacher, I'm the first one to know that if you don't do your homework, you're in trouble. Today's political social perspective is to divide and conquer. The division has created havoc within society. It has created problems between what I call the me, mine, I people and the we, the people. The me, mine, I people, who are my wife, kids, friends, neighbors, etc., the somewhat 80 to 90% of the people that are not informed but have all the answers. And the we, the people, who carry the burden of reality, trying to right the ship, so to speak. Having a strong religious and educational background gives me the might to withstand a multitude of opinions and do the right thing. It is not a popular situation, but one that takes a strong constitution, going against your loved ones and friends and a disconnected populace for their own benefit. That's where the Toastmaster organization comes in. The information, knowledge, and leadership qualities have to be honed, and this is the opportunity that is offered to each member at their own pace of development. Although I see the direction that must be attained as an individual, I am bucking great unfair bureaucratic rules of the political structure of government. Government is way too big and out of control, and the system is stacked in favor of the politician. The citizens are being the scapegoats and are not represented, thus leading to perverse legislation and lifestyles. So to speak, the shepherd is gone, the sheep are lost and confused. Under the old system, the legislation used to protect all the way to the least common denominator through free enterprise, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and the Ten Commandments. This story is evidently headed for a book material to inform the majority of the people that they must take their country back for the preservation of mankind. As usual, this is all the information I could gather to meet another deadline. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to express myself. Florian Volsager Sr. or Mr. B. Thank you.
Clap, 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 clap. Awesome. Thank you so much for contributing to the meeting, Florian, and sharing your heart. And I think that one of the huge takeaways I have from your presentation is that it's really important as a club to always make our members feel that they can express comfortably where their passions are in their speeches and in their contributions.
You know what? Excuse me, let me interrupt you, but I want you to go on. Being older, that's exactly the feeling I have toward our group. I admire them, I love them, and yet I do not want to disengage them because of a certain statement or so. So I'm very careful there. But anyway, go ahead. Your explanation was very good.
Well, good. And I think that in every club, what I heard Carol say too is that there are several takeaways. Is that it really pays to be organized and for members to feel welcome and for members to feel comfortable in expressing what it is that they feel passionate about and what they can contribute. And something that sometimes I think is what's said in this room stays in this room, in that we have to be non-judgmental when we listen to others and open-minded, because sometimes different perspectives can help us see certain situations in life differently, especially with the culture diversity that we have in our club. Is there anything that Serena, Steve, that you want to contribute to some ideas on how you think we could better grow our club or another club?
I really like the idea of the packet. So I think that's something that might be lacking in our group, is that when people come in for the first time, they're a little lost. And I think if we give them something tangible to take with them, then not only do they think about our club when they leave and the impression that we made, but they still have something to take with them that they can look at and kind of keep their interest up. I really like that idea.
I do too.
I do too. And Carol had mentioned that she purchased packets from the TI website, and I looked it up. and there are some available. I didn't realize you could just buy a full packet for $2.50.
And they're
Well,
on
that
sale this month for
we can
$2.25.
look into.
Oh, are they?
They are
Okay.
through the end of April.
Oh, they're on sale?
Yes.
Well, that's even
Oh.
better.
Through the end.
Oh, wow. Well, you can get 20 for $1 a piece.
No, they're $2.25 each instead of $2.50 each. But it's money well spent.
Yes, yes.
Oh.
Yes, again, it goes back to making a person feel welcome. Carol, when I first joined where I met, I was totally lost. Also, we didn't have, I don't even remember Peter being in those meetings. It was a different team. And I just was totally lost for a lot of reasons. So I can definitely see the value of that packet. Good idea, Serena. And I'm okay with going on the website and ordering those. So I can do that for our club. Steve, was there anything that you had to recommend or suggest?
No, I think the packet, specifically for our club, the packet, I think we do a great job now of welcoming new people, making them feel comfortable, encouraging people to speak, but not in a demanding way. I think we're good at, if somebody is too shy initially in that first meeting not to speak, I think that's fine. But yeah, I like Carol's presentation, and I like the way you put it in a recipe format. It makes it easier to follow. Several years ago, Peter encouraged us to have one or two speeches, annual speeches, because that's what really made the meeting. And I think when we started doing that, it helped a lot to up the meeting, rather than just having a Toastmaster and table topics.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This is Peter. So when Michelle, you just joined the club, we are actually struggling. We were struggling club at that time, and we are like member of 8. So the way we do is very similar to Carol said. We need to have speakers in each meeting. So I thank some of the senior members like Steve and Greg. They step up and fill up the agenda. So we make sure at least each meeting we have speakers, 1 or 2. And even we don't have a topic, we can run the successful meeting series and to fill up the role and to gain that momentum little by little until you join us and you bring a lot of new faces to our team, and that's great. So we are growing.
When I attended one of the training meeting sessions for the first time, I had a consult with 2 people whose names I don't remember. Dr. Johnson was one and another lady. And we had quite a conversation back and forth. And when it was all over, they said, "Do you have any questions?" And I said, "Yes, I do." I says, "I'm older. I'm 88 years old, and I have a big problem communicating and understanding the younger generation." And they said, "Well, what age are you talking about?" And I said 55 and 65 years old. And at the end of that, we all bust out laughing, period. and so you can see there's a situation there. And from my end, I am using Toastmaster for the benefit of my outside world. However, I have to also participate. What you're trying to do is improve the Toastmaster organization. And certainly, I will put time and effort into that energy, into that direction. Right.
Thank you. Charles, are you still on the line?
Yes. I was going to. I put in my comments. I've worked with Carol.
Okay. I was just going to say, can you tell me first what club you're from, because I don't think I know you.
From the 4725 Great Communicators Club.
Well,
and
welcome.
I worked with. Thanks. I worked with Carol, and she's kind of been a de facto mentor to me as we worked on getting my club. I was kind of thrown into the club president position after our club president just up and disappeared on us. I think one of the things that we do that is really beneficial is everyone on the executive board is moving in the same direction as far as club membership. We all understand our roles. And whenever we have a meeting, if we're standing around talking prior to the meeting and a guest walks in, we pretty much stop or break away and go greet the guest. That is so beneficial. Someone walks into a room, they've got the butterflies going on their stomach. They're not really sure. They're kind of questionable what's really going on.
Sure.
Clubs vary from place to place. So as long as you go in there and you welcome them, make them feel welcome, and you're warm, then that obviously helps. And then we try to sit next to them or have them sit next to us, one of the executive officers, so we can kind of answer any questions if they have any. And we kind of prep them for the VPM person to come out and ask them. Now, we're not all salesmen, so some of us may have a hard time closing the sale, but our VPM does close the sale, but we've already prepped them. We've done all the work. We've answered all their questions. We've maybe gone through the packet form or got the packet, explained a few things, and then we make sure we ask for the close. That's the important thing. I've been to other meetings.
Do you do that at the end, the very first time that person is at your meeting, or do you invite them back and do it the next time, or do you do it all at the very first meeting?
We do it all at the first meeting.
Okay.
We do it all at the first meeting maybe, I don't know, Carol, would you say probably 60% of the time we close? Sometimes they come back. A lot of times they come back, I should say. But if they've already paid, then they will come back.
Sure. Then they have skin in the game.
Yes. Yes. And sometimes, if for whatever, maybe they can't afford it right now. So maybe they'll come back, and sometimes they also come back and they don't come back. But we generally ask them that evening, try to make the close that evening, and they can get them. And then our Vice President of Education works with them to get them on the agenda and give them roles almost immediately, so that they not only do they have skin in the game, but they're connected and
committed
they're
and
working,
connected. Sure.
and get their first speech in.
So do you do that once the meeting concludes, or do you do that before the meeting concludes? In the last 5 minutes, we have a hard stop at 1, and then everybody has to scoot out for meetings. So how do you orchestrate that? Do you have flexibility on time?
Yes, we do. We end our meeting probably an hour before the library closes.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, there's been a few times when you hear the librarian come on and tell us that the library's going to be closing in 15 minutes. So, yeah, we do have flexibility after the meeting. In fact, most of the times I don't get out of there till at least 8:30, just because I'm standing around. Toastmasters, we talk. So we're standing around talking and maybe even helping answer any questions or helping close the sale or clean up the room or what have you.
Right.
But I think it's so beneficial to forget what you're doing, unless you're working a guest, and go to the door and greet a new guest and talk with them and make them feel welcome. And then, you don't have to, if you want to close the sale, go ahead and close the sale and ask for it. But at the end, they're ready to close the sale. It is a sales. We don't realize, we may not think about it, but it is a sales.
Yeah, I like that mindset. Yes, because your goal is to get them to join. So if you want to call that a sale, that's what it is. Yep. And
Toastmasters calls it a sale, Michelle. There's an educational speech called Closing the Sale.
Closing the sale. Yep. Okay. I like it. I love it. And what I'm taught, like in the John Maxwell, is we find the pleasure or their pain spots before we close the sale, because that's how we appeal to that. So how do you ask why they want to join? Is that a part of the closing, or what they're hoping to get out of the club as part of the closing?
Well, we talk with them at the beginning. I think one of the first questions I've always asked is, what brought you here and why are you here? And to find out, we've got, maybe the person speaks publicly often, but they don't feel like they are the best public speaker they are. Maybe they're getting a new position where they think they might be needing to talk to several people. Maybe they're looking for leadership. Maybe you get to know the person. You're talking to them in the beginning. Your questions are pointed. You want to find out more about them other than how the kids and, how's the weather and so on and so forth. The questions we're asking, I believe, are pointed toward finding out more about them and why they're there and what Toastmasters can offer for them.
Sure, what the benefit is. Okay, makes sense. Is there somebody else on the call who wants to input also that I didn't catch?
I think we have Helena online. I want to hear her.
Oh, that's right. Hi, Helena. Hi.
Hi, Michelle. Yeah, I just add a very quick comment to their testimony for what Charles says about their club. I joined a different club, but I have a schedule conflict for the half of the meetings. So to compensate for my lower attendance starting from last year, I started to go to Charles, the Great Communicators Club. I really felt that the board, he said that board members, they all are very warm and very, very, I just feel that club is people are so warm here, so they really do a good job. I think it's starting from board members, and then, and the other members will become very, very, very nice to the guests, and that's why that's the secret. They grow so fast. So I just want to, just want to say that.
You feel really welcome, it sounds like. That's great.
Yes, they felt welcome.
One of the ideas, too, that I had, I don't know if anybody's done this, I have two manuals coming up. One's a facilitating manual and one's video. And I would like to make a YouTube video and write kind of a hosting session of members where we can make it fun and or funny, and why we join Toastmasters and what we do there, and we can make it a spoof, or we can do some kind of a YouTube video on our club, and we can kind of brainstorm that maybe at a different time. I know that Peter
was
has
talking about the idea, so probably we can get together and then develop the thoughts.
Yeah, I would like that, and I'm sure it's been done by other clubs, and sometimes we can learn by watching others. So I'm going to try to look around for other YouTube videos of clubs who have made one, and not that we're going to mirror that exactly, but it sometimes will spark ideas for me too, and that might be something that we can add and promote at our Toastmaster.com, Warsaw Noon Toastmasters page, at our Facebook page, and we could share the link at all our individual pages. And maybe sometimes I think that a personal invite really goes a long way, because if you say to a friend, hey, have you ever thought about joining Toastmasters? I'd love for you to come as my guest. They almost feel more welcome because you have faith in them. You're saying, I think that you would really benefit from this, and it kind of gives them courage. So that might be my only other contribution to growing the club, is just if every one of us just personally invited one person and kind of made that a mission, it could help too. Peter,
great idea.
I'm going to give it back to you because I think you want to end this meeting in like 1 minute. So maybe
I'd like to hear briefly, like 1 minute evaluation from Serena, and followed by Helena.
Okay, I dialed in a little late, but I could see there are a lot of attendance today, and we have followed the schedule very closely, I would say, since I started. And we have two, first of all, our Toastmaster today, Michelle, did a great job in introducing two speakers and held the roundtable discussion. We had two very good speeches. Carol used her own experience very convincingly, give good recipes, and Mr. B also provided his own perspective, and that the speeches were good. And roundtable discussion, I cannot tell everybody's name, but I think all of us have all the attendants have pitched in. Very good discussion, and as far as I can tell, this is a very, very good meeting. Thank you.
All right. How about you, Serena?
I agree. I think it was a great meeting. I think I learned a lot, and thank you so much for sharing your stories. I appreciated both speeches. I think it flowed well. I think it was a great hour meeting. This is my first WebEx where I can actually see myself on here, so great job, Peter, setting this up. One little thing I would like to say is that, sorry, I guess it's a little off topic because it's not a general evaluator thing, but I was also thinking that we should celebrate our new members more. I don't know, by doing something.
I think that's a great idea. Okay, keep going.
Because I think that's really important because it makes them feel special. Like they made this big step, this big commitment, and I want to make sure we celebrate that. Hey, they did it. They made it.
well, that's why we give them a standing ovation at their icebreaker speech, and we can tell them that as soon as you give that icebreaker speech, we're going to stand and give you an ovation. Anyway.
And
Yep,
that's
very
all
good. I will talk to you about it. There's a members induction ceremony for Toastmaster. We haven't done it for a while, so I can.
No, I like it too.
We need to do an induction. That's a formalization of welcoming new members. So we have 2 minutes before 1 o'clock, so I want to conclude before 1. Next month, our theme will be mentoring program. It will be focused on mentoring. And we know when we get to a club, we feel totally new. And if someone can be there with us and guide us to reduce some of the unknowns, there will be a lot of helping. So mentoring is the theme for next month. And it will be on May 20th, Friday, the same time, noon to 1. In the next event, we have leadership opportunity. We need 1 Toastmaster, and we have speaking opportunities. We need 2 speakers, and we need a lot of audience and a lot of questions and solutions to make something good happen. So with that, I thank you for your participation and looking forward to meeting you next time.
Thank you, Peter. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, Peter.
And thank you for everyone.